ARP-sponsored defensive driving course. It's a good course. Saves you a bundle, 10% on your insurance, knocks off some points. You have some coffee and you have a wonderful time. Forestville, if you want to check out the driver's training out there, the driver's course, it's well worth it. You'll learn some good tricks. Call 965-2987. 965-2987. Enroll. It doesn't cost much. It does save you 10%. Yeah, on your insurance. That's going to be a bundle, guys. Next meeting over there, if you want to meet them, is September 27th at noon at the Brockton American Legion, where they usually go. They have always bring a dish to pass and be ready to play bingo. I wanted to say 53 years of anniversary, 53-year anniversary, 53 years of marriage. Incredible. Marianne and Tom DeCenzo. Dunkirk Federated, Betty Korzinowski, and does the kitchen work. September 7th coming up is their next meeting. Genevieve will be doing it. And I want to say that they're telling me, I just got that signal, I am finished. There is no more time for news. I do have a couple other items here, but I'm afraid we're not going to be able to get them in. So I'm sorry, fellas. That's the end of the news. That's a wrap. Next will be the geezer, Mort Flexer, coming up. And first of all, I have a public service announcement for you. This is just for you.
And now, another adventure with Savings Man.
This is great. Every day should be like this.
It will be when I retire in a few years. I've been planning and saving.
Did you save for me?
Well, this is unexpected.
Where'd you come from?
Out of the blue, just like an illness, an emergency, or
That's enough, Mr. Unexpected.
Savings Man.
There's still time to plan. Find out how at choosetosave.org with a ballpark estimate worksheet.
I will. Thanks, Savings Man.
No, thank you.
So visit choosetosave.org today.
There you go. Savings Man, thank you for the word. The Quilt Guild called me and said, you forgot to mention we're having a great, big, huge quilt show of thousands of quilts, millions of people expected, food, dancing, and fooling around. It's at the Westfield Exempt Hall. That'll be coming up next weekend, all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. Call them and ask. These quilts are just well worth the trip. And some of them you can even buy them, but you have to pressure the quilters because they don't like to sell their little children. Okay, next weekend, not this weekend, at the Exempt Hall in Westfield. You know where the Fireman's Exempt Hall, you go down Portage, cross the two railroad bridges and turn right, and you can't miss it. There'll be piles of cars and people running around carrying quilts. I don't know what's going on. Well, we got a guy here. Mort Flexer, the geezer who shoots from the hip. Mort, you're on.
Thank you, Reed. And good morning to our guest, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Last Tuesday, about noon, I started getting some discomfort, my chest, and when you turn 85, you start to get a little chest pain. You start to worrying about maybe it's my last day. But I walked over to Westfield Memorial, because if it was my last day, I didn't want to leave my car there. And in any event, the main point I wanted to make, and what I'm going to get at, you'll see quickly, is that the quality of health care in this county is really pretty darn good. I don't know how involved you get in it, Fred, but from what I hear from friends who go to other community hospitals, I went to Westfield, but Brooks, Jamestown seem to be just as caring, and that's the main point. You get the feeling that they do care for you. And boy, I did get a lot of personal care. I used to expect it naturally because I was the administrator at Westfield. But that was so many years ago, the employees there don't know who the heck I am. And again, the care was as good as it got when I was the administrator. In any event, the problems were such that they couldn't treat me there, though they sent me into, oh God, they sent me down to Erie. St. Vincent's, thank you, Reed. And the care there also, by the way, was excellent. So what I'm getting at is I want to, first of all, advise you that if you're not feeling well, don't wait until you pass out. Go seek whatever care you feel is appropriate at the time. And again, in this county, you can have very high expectations of getting a quality of care that you just would not get in a number of other communities. Really, and I can not say enough about the treatment I received, and if you're concerned, the treatment you will receive. It was phenomenal. Thank you, Reed.
Thank you, Mort. I'm glad you survived for another weekend on Senior Report. Next time, though, I would give you a little bit of advice, whatever it's worth. If you're feeling chest pains, it's not always wise to start walking around. Hiking to the hospital. It's better to call 911 and have the local ambulance carefully take you over and give you a snort of oxygen if you need it, but don't take chances. You're right. If you get chest pains, baby, especially if you're older than I am, you better go to the hospital immediately. Do not sit around waiting to see what's going to happen next, because you might not like it. Okay, Fred Croscut. He's the guy who rules now in New York, in the Chautauqua County Legislature. He's been there for a long time, 20, how many years now?
About 14.
14 years. And you'll probably be there a lot longer. And until they tap you probably to become the county exec, and then of course they'll tap you to become the lieutenant governor like everybody else, right?
Well, I appreciate that buildup, but that really probably is not my future.
You don't think that's
I don't think that's my future. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. I'm happy to be here. I always seem to learn something when I come on this show, and I didn't know about tomatoes.
Clapping tomatoes?
Yeah, and I don't really know if you can see license plates 3 blocks away. But anyways, we're here to talk about anything that people call in about, but particularly the county budget. And then, of course, in today's paper, you saw this article on the lake management plan.
Management plan.
And for our watershed.
What lake is this? All of them? Or?
The Chautauqua Lake.
Chautauqua Lake, okay.
I know that the legislature had a good presentation at the last meeting from Rick Constantino. And
what's his role?
He's a watershed coordinator.
Okay, good.
And I'll be meeting this week with Phil, or those people, and discussing the future of this plan. I fully anticipate that the legislature will adopt it, as well as surrounding communities around the watershed.
What are you going to do about the weeds?
Well, the weeds, you really, a herbicide program probably is not in the works.
They will not let that happen.
No, they won't let that happen.
They will not let us poison the lake.
They'll continue to harvest weeds, I'm sure of that.
Cutting and mowing them.
Yeah.
They go right back, of course.
So that's part of the plan, but the point is we need to keep it going. We have to work with municipalities around the lake, and that includes town of Chautauqua, town of Sherman. Sherman is part of the watershed that surrounds Chautauqua Lake. So we can touch on that, but more importantly, I think the county budget is going to be coming up.
Budget.
Yes.
That's what everybody's asking about, and of course, I guess as I recall, the last word from Greg Edwards, the county exec, was he's going to have to, he can't raise taxes. He's actually taking a shortfall in taxes because of the state sales tax going down.
That's exactly right.
And so he can't raise that. That's the only other tax. The two taxes that make any real difference around here, and that is the real estate tax. So that was the state tax out, leaving the real estate tax up for grabs. But he said the alternative, of course, is to cut what few programs he can. And it's kind of like a school budget. The school board budgets, they say, we're going to cut the budget. Well, they only can control about 4 or 5% of the budget.
About 13% is all we control.
That's all you control. So in the meantime, in order to do that, the part of the control is the officer aging. Out with that, he said they'll have to do away with that. Do away with the veterans affairs. Do away with carts and the buses, and 2 or 3 other things were listed in the Dunkirk Observer as things that he's going to do away with.
Well, I think those are things that are listed that he could do away with. But you and I both know that's not going to happen.
You don't think they're going to put them down in a trailer by the park and that'll be the end of it?
No, but for example, you touch on one very important thing that's close to all of us, particularly on this program, the Office for the Aging.
Yeah.
We spend almost $800,000 in local share funding
Yeah, but we get a lot of money back, right?
Exactly, because it's a $3 million, almost $4 million program.
Yeah.
But the point is, I can see the county executive, and I have not talked to him, but in his initial plan back in April, he wanted to combine departments, which he's done in the past. He wanted everyone to look at a 10% cut of local share funds. That's what he's going to be looking at. I think that he'll have a tremendous amount of trouble doing more than approximately $5 million worth of cuts.
Well, they just had big cuts in the off-season.
But that doesn't mean we can't continue to combine departments. I will not speak for the county executive, but I will tell you this.
Well, you have his ear. And
well, we do, but also, we have the sheriffs. I met with the sheriff and the undersheriff and the captain last week. So I'm going to be meeting with all these people. But you've got to make up that $18 million deficit. And yes, we're losing some sales tax revenue. But yet you've got to continue to have some of the programs you have. You will take cuts in Office for the Aging, for example, but you're not going to see the program eliminated. We cannot do that. But that's what you're saying is those are the things you have the most control over. But those are dear programs to the listing area. It's just like extension. It's like Soil and Water Board. We continue to go out with Soil and Water Board projects around the lake to do stream bank protection. We as dairy farmers have environmental things we have to do on our farms. So all these things we have to keep people working to help facilitate these programs. Sheriff's Road Patrol, yes, I'm sure there'll be some reduction in the cost of the Sheriff's Road Patrol.
How about the Sheriff's, one of the biggest chunks of dough that goes out is the slammer. And I talked to a couple of people, the parson in charge, as a matter of fact, their chaplain, and they tell me about half of them are in there for miscellaneous stupid drug things, and if they just threw them out, it wouldn't make any difference anyway.
Well, they're in there for those things, but on the other hand, they have to be incarcerated for certain things that they do that are unlawful, and that's where you end up is in jail. Now the problem comes in.
The problem with that is it doesn't stop it. The minute they're out of sight, somebody else is doing it. So what are we gaining here?
Well, you're going to have to incarcerate them, but you've also got to have some rehabilitation programs. And I don't know as the county is going to pick up the total cost of any rehabilitation programs. It's like when we did the new jail. Certainly, probably a third of those people ought to be in maybe some kind of mental situation, and
no
maybe in for rehab for drug treatment. But how far what kind of facility are we going to build? We build a jail, and that's what we do.
Right. Well, you're quite right about the mental thing, because most of the, I'll say this, in all prisons, not just ours,
right,
a good percentage, as they say could be a third or more, are just crazy as a hootie owl. Well, and rather than put them into a hospital at $600 a pop, they put them in jail. It only costs $85 a day. Yep. That's a simple way they do it. Yep. And so much for the mental health program. It's gone.
But they also have mental health problems at Jones Hill, for example, and stuff like that. So people, Jones Hill in Jamestown.
Yeah.
But that's not to be a county expense. You go there, and hopefully insurance and whatnot will pay for that. And hopefully those people won't come out and commit crimes, and hopefully they'll stay on their medication.
Maybe they will. First thing you do is throw them in the slammer anyway, because it costs too damn much to put them in a hospital.
But to prepare the people for this year's budget, the way the legislature will work, we will get the county executive's budget the fourth Wednesday in September.
That'll be September the
20-something in there. It's the end of the fourth Wednesday in September.
Toward the end of September, we'll get it.
We will get his budget. I have booked the Chautauqua Lake School for that meeting. At 6:30 that evening, we will have our budget hearings. The reason I did that is because we anticipate a large crowd.
We got a caller as soon as.
Oh, okay. So we will. Anyways, we'll get his budget, and then during the month of October, which will be the October meeting, we'll hopefully adopt a budget. And I appreciate coming on today, because I want to let people know that the legislature committees will hear all the department heads' concerns. We will go over the budget the county executive presents with those people, and we'll make some, maybe we'll agree with some of the things, maybe we'll make some changes, but that will be in the first week of October. All those home committees meet, and then any time that someone wants to come out and talk to them or meet with the group, I would be more than happy to do that. But we can take the first caller if you want to do that.
Okay, let's do it. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
I'm fine.
I was looking this morning at real estate taxes, and I questioned you saying we have the highest tax state